The paper we're diving into today is Construction of Consumer Choice in the Market, Challenges for Environmental Policy by Johanna Moisander, Kirsi Erranta, and Anu Markula. Quite a mouthful, but honestly, it's packed with really interesting questions.
Yeah, and at the heart of it, at least the way I read it, the paper is asking, is it really fair or even realistic to put all the responsibility for sustainable change on individual consumers? Like, can we just expect people to make the right choices and poof, save the planet?
Exactly. And they're pushing back against this romantic idea of the green consumer. You know, people who supposedly drive companies and politicians towards sustainability just by buying the right stuff. The authors argue that it's way more complicated than that, and, well, also a bit problematic.
Right, because, as they point out, consumer choice doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's constantly shaped and nudged, sometimes very subtly, other times in your face, by marketing and the way the market is set up.
Which, I guess, on one hand, we all know. Like, you walk into a store, you're basically walking into a tactical maze with music, lighting, and the impulse buy bins by the register. But the paper zooms out further and says, hey, even the whole idea of what you should want or what's normal to want is pretty much constructed for you.
They use the fashion industry as an example. So instead of people actually deciding if they need new clothes, marketers create this churn, new colors, new trends, seasonal changes, that gets us thinking, oh, I guess I have to update my style. And suddenly, choice isn't about your needs, it's about an expectation that someone, somewhere, built for you.
And let's not forget the whole marketing knowledge side. They talk about how advertisers use not just psychology, but also economics, like the idea that rational consumers always chase bargains. That, in turn, makes it really hard to get people to buy environmentally friendly stuff, which typically costs more.
Yeah, because we're so conditioned to look for the best deal, and marketers are always reminding us that paying extra is like silly or even plain stupid, as one ad campaign said. So, no wonder green products struggle, right?
Today, there's also this interesting bit about how marketing shapes identities. Brands don't just sell products, they sell you a sense of self. The Nike woman or the Armani woman, it's not just about athletic shoes or a suit, it's about being sexy, powerful, sporty, whatever the brand wants you to buy into.
It's kind of wild if you think about it, how much of like your personality or your self-image you might pick up secondhand from a billboard. I remember in high school, I once bought this cologne, not because I liked the smell, but because the ad made it look like wearing it would turn me into this like mysterious, broody guy on a motorcycle. That didn't quite work out, by the way.
Yeah, you're still waiting for your motorcycle moment.
Still waiting. But anyway, back to the paper. They're questioning whether it's even reasonable to expect people to shoulder the whole burden of environmentalism when these forces are at play. It's like, how free is your choice, really, if it's been guided, if not outright engineered, by marketing?
And I feel like that's a huge point for anyone listening. The paper's not saying people shouldn't try to make better choices, but it's a reminder that personal responsibility has limits, especially when the system is stacked against sustainable choices. It's not about giving up, it's about understanding the larger system that shapes our behavior.
Plus, they suggest that real change requires more than just heroic individuals acting alone. There needs to be a conversation about the networks we're part of, friends, family, workplace, all those connections, and, crucially, how organizations and policymakers structure what's possible or easy for us to choose.
I appreciate that, because so much of the green consumer narrative makes it sound like if you just do everything right, the world will follow. But according to these authors, it's more about awareness, about questioning what's presented as normal, and maybe, together, pushing for structural change.
Yeah, and I like how they end by saying the point isn't to ditch your values, but to keep reflecting on where they come from and work collectively, on yourself and with others, on the bigger system. Which, honestly, is kind of comforting. You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be a bit curious and willing to ask questions.